Well, thank you again for assisting one of our webinars here for CTC. Today we'll be taking a look at the new features for Revit Architecture 2019, which was released last month. My name is Omar Ruiz Miranda, and I am an applications engineer here at CTC. To start, before I mention every single of these items here, I want to thank every one of you, the users, who were able to provide ideas and new features to the Autodesk Ideas forum. All the bold items that you see here on the screen are thanks to the users. They looked at this forum and they gave priority to these new features thanks to you guys. So continue sending your ideas to the Ideas forum for Autodesk, so they can they keep giving us more new features like these ones. So the way this was presented or categorized was in a few different ways, like optimize and design and connect. So this is how I wanted to present it today. We'll start with the optimize category, where these items are specifically for working in general Revit and views, things like that. So as you can see, now we have multi-monitor support. What it means is that we can drag the individual views outside of a second monitor, third monitor, and then we can use them just as regular Microsoft Windows and split the views if we need to. We also have tab views and tile views. We can also close inactive views without closing. If we have the tile views and we have inactive views in each one, we don't have to close everything, just the ones that are not inactive, that are not active. We now have a warning when deleting a level. It will tell us that we're about to delete elements related to that level. Before it was just a little warning and just delete everything without notice. So this is great, so we don't accidentally delete things. We can now double click renaming of the views, just like in Windows as well. When we go to rename a folder or a file, we just do a slide or a slow double click, and then we're able to rename it instead of a right click, rename, and all that little extra step there. Then we also have a confirmation when renaming views. That's the first time we open we're about to rename a view. This option, it was always present, but now we have the option of omitting this option for future times when we are about to rename things. We don't want to see that message again. On the design category here, they added new OR rules in the view filters. We also have double patterns, which are the background and foreground patterns that can be for one surface. Then we have levels in 3D, which are some of the pictures you can see there, and we'll go through the actual demonstration in Revit. We have uncropped 3D perspective views, 3D views, projection modes, which are the two options are perspective and orthographic. We also have the ability to add a scope box in the 3D views. We are able now to split railings and vertical text alignment as well for top, center, and bottom. We have dimensions for curved objects in section views, material appearances enhancements, and just to mention here as well, just they added a couple of German sample models in addition to our regular sample and advanced models that came out of the box with Revit. And then connect, a couple things here is you have the ability to see when opening a file, either a family or an RVT, which is a project, we're now able to see under the image or the preview image the version of that item when it was created. And some improvement on cloud work sharing as well. Okay, let's open Revit here and start taking a look at these items individually. Let's start with the multi-monitor support. To start with this, I am going to start opening some other views. Let's open ground floor, second floor, some sections, and some other view. Okay, you have the ability now to drag this one into a different screen. You're unable to see my second screen, but it does not give me. If I continue going this way, it doesn't give me any trouble or anything like that. Okay, I can drag any of those views out. If I want to, I can bring them. Let's pretend this is my second screen, and I can just bring it to a corner and start just playing with this. If this was my second monitor, I could just use my main for the properties and the project browser, and then see my other views open in a second monitor or third monitor even. So these are now acting like windows. As you can see, I can bring them back as well. Just drag them, place them, and then it tiles, or you can just bring them this way. This brings me back to the tab views and tile views. So if I close individual windows here, I grab this one back here, you can see the highlighted in blue. It tells me where it's going to be placed. Under views, we have tab views and tile views. So we're currently in tab. If we go to tile, it splits the working area depending on how many windows we have open or how many views we have open. It splits it equally. And then we can go back to tab views as well. And you can use the shortcuts, which are WT for tile views and TW for tab views. So it's just the reverse there on those shortcuts, which is very neat. Okay, so let's do some more tile views. When you're working in tab views, you can also have, when you're working on tile views, you can add tab views as well. So if this is active currently, and if I open more, they will go to that specific area, and you can see the tabs start to happen here. If I click inside this other view and I open different views, that happens right here. Okay, and so on. Now we also have the close inactive. When I have the tile views here and I have a couple of the tabs open, if I do the close inactive windows now, it's not going to close every single one. It's just going to close the extra ones that are inactive in each one of the tiles. So let's do that. Now it just gets rid of the extra ones here, but it keeps my tile views as well. I can go back to select them all like this. Okay. And there used to be an option here for previous versions of Revit, which was the replicate window. That one is gone for now, or now it's gone. It has been removed. All right, so let's go now to take a look at the warning when deleting a level. Let's just open a section or elevation here. Now we go here and try to delete a level. So click on the level, delete. Now this message comes and tells you that you're about to also delete the view and everything here. But if you go expand, go to warnings, it will tell you the elements that you're about to delete. So this is important for users that accidentally might click on something and delete it. Gives them a little bit more of a thought about what they're about to do. So a little extra caution there. Let's do the double click now for renaming views. If I select this view, usually we go and rename with the right click and do it that way. But now I can click and then wait a little bit, and I can click again, and then activates my my rename option there. And I can start doing that. Let me try another one. see. Okay. And at this point, it would have given me a warning that I was renaming that the view. However, the first time that I did this, I clicked the option not to show that again. So that's why we don't see it anymore. But when you guys get that the first time, you'll see that. So basically, it will say some message or some option that do not show me this message again, and then you have a little box to check that, and it won't show it like it doesn't show here anymore. Let's move to the design part. Let's go back to 3D. And let's go to ground floor here. What I have here is a couple of options, like 4 walls here that I created previously. These are like a wood and a brick and CMU, concrete, and each one I gave him fire ratings for that in order to demonstrate the filters here. So the new OR filters works for the views when we go to visibility graphics or VG or VV. If I should use my shortcut VV, it brings me to the visibility graphics. And then I go to filters. Currently there's nothing there, but we can go and edit new. This is where we can add more. We can duplicate or we can just create a new one. So the first thing is to give it a name. So maybe I'll do this for brick or CMU walls. And the next step would be to select which category I want to filter out. Let's just pick walls for now for this one. Now you can see here the N, but also the OR values in there. So let's pick OR and give it a few rules here. Now it makes this a lot more easy to manage without having to create several filters just to accomplish a few things. So the first thing we need to do is to give it select a parameter that we need to control by. So let's find type name, and then we'll tell it that I want to filter, let's say the brick and the CMU out of this view. So let's see, contains, and I'm just going to type brick, and I can add more. Same thing, type name, and I also want to find things that have a CMU on them, on the name. Okay. And in case the name doesn't contain that, it keeps looking, and I can add more rules, and I can say search for structural material equals, and I pick something like brick. I add one more, and I can say structural material equals CMU or concrete masonry units, and click OK. Now that I have added it or created it, I can add it to the filters here. So here's my new filter. Click OK. If I hide that, click OK, that's gone right there. So you have more chances or possibilities to do it with one filter and more options. Let's go back to filters, because if you noticed, I'm just going to apply this. Go back to edit new, and let's create a new one just to show the combination of the AND and OR. So in this case, we'll do let's just call it this, just a demonstration. In this one, we're going to start by creating an AND rule. Basically, the same thing. We're going to look for walls. Let's do fire rating. Equals to 1 hour. And I also want to add another rule, and so these two things have to be met in order for the filter to work. So function, I want it to be interior. And then I can add another and, but this and will be a set that is either or. So any of the options that I give to the other set that is or can apply to, it can say, look for a wall that is the fire rating 1 hour and it's an interior wall, and any of the options here as well. So if we start adding rules, we can add one of the same ones that we did previously, like type name contains brick. And we can add more, like say type name contains CMU. So basically, this whole thing is just like it was another and option, right? Like this one, but with either or, one of those options there. So let's apply this and bring it to our filter. And I can hide that. Now I took care of these ones as well because it found CMU, but it had 2 hours, so it did not match the description that I was giving it. So that would be a couple of examples for the old rules that are new here. And to move on, we can show now the double patterns. Let's go to a 3D view and show on this wall, for example. So if I right click it and say override the graphics by element. Now these options right here, we see foreground and background now. And these are available for materials as well, and any other things that require surface patterns or cut patterns, you'll see these options. But to demonstrate here is we're going to, let's say, add concrete as a foreground, and in the background I will add some lines, maybe some vertical lines here, and then I can change the color of those. Maybe I'll make them a little darker blue type of color here and apply. So let's go inside here, and now you can see your two patterns there. I would say useful for maybe showing the concrete panels or precast panels that are brought to site, something like that. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find a lot more uses for that, but it's very nice that we're able to see that and do that now. Since we're in 3D, let's show now the 3D levels or levels in 3D. In order to do that, by default, they are off. So we need to go to visibility graphics again, VV or VG. And then under annotations categories, we need to find levels and turn it on. Notice in the background now, we're able to see those levels just like we're able to see them on elevation. Keep in mind, we cannot create new levels here in 3D, but we can modify them. We can delete them. We can move them. We can rename them, change the elevation, change the name. The same functionality, hide this part and maybe show it on the other one. So all the same thing. If I move, I rotate my model around. Notice that the levels are always going to be in the back side of the screen, so it's not covering my view. As you see, I turned this way, now they went back over here. Notice how they keep changing. Okay, so also they have an option to, let me just create a wall here. And let me send this one to my ground floor. Perfect. What I want to show here is when you drag the walls now, see how it highlights the, you see in the blue, look at it back here. It highlights the level that we're going through. So in 3D now we are able to see where we can stop at that level. Very nice feature there as well. Okay, so let's find another another view here. So let's open this camera view. In camera views, when you zoom in and out, the whole little crop window here goes with it. Now the option is that when we turn off the crop view, we can see this. It does no longer move that little window, but you are no longer limited to that. You can move in and out in here as well. Okay. So that would be an uncropped 3D perspective view. You can go back to it and back to the normal, just moving that little image there. Okay. Also, in here, if I uncrop this one, we have now the projection mode options here for perspective and orthographic. Little thing here, and it changed completely my way of looking at the model. So we're in orthographic now, and if we go back to perspective, this is more of an actual way that when someone is looking at things, they give you that illusion of depth and how far things are. And so you can change now between one or the other, no matter which 3D view you are on. All right. Next option or the next feature would be the scope box for 3D views. So let me create a scope box here around the stair area. And I'm going to name this one stairs. And I'm going to move to 3D and duplicate this view. And since I can now double click to rename, this is so easy now. It's stairs. Okay. Now the option is right here on the scope box. You can assign that one that we just created, and it will do this for you now for the stairs. So of course you can now come here and move this thing inside. By the way, you're still able to use Control Tab to move between these tabs, or you can go directly to them. But now you can see your scope box assignation. All right, so let's go back to the regular 3D view and create a railing. The next one will be split railings. Here's a railing. Now we're able to split it just by simply going to the Modify tab and say Split, or the shortcut would be SL. And then just pick your point where you want to split it on, and just pick anything you want. If I want to be there, it will split the whole thing. You can see it adds another start post. So now you can split in it and change maybe types, so without having to go and edit the sketch and all these other extra steps. So that's the split railing. Another option is the dimensions for curved objects in section view. What this means is that when an example of this would be if you are on a section and you have curved items like walls, for example. Previously, you're not able to measure from one to another, but now if I go to this section and say dimension or DI from a shortcut here, you'll have to tab in order to select the edges now. but you're able to do it. Before, you wouldn't be able to. So I can do this. This is true for maybe when you're working on some sections with railings or pipes and or round handrails, things like that. You can do this one. So that's the dimensions for curved objects in section views. You also have another option for, or the next feature would be the text alignment for vertical. So here I have a couple or three different texts, and now you have three more options here that you can do: top align, middle, or bottom. And what this means is these three of them are currently the top align. So if I go to the center or the middle one here and I check this middle align, if I move it, notice that line there, it matches the center of the whole text box. So I can align it to any other points there. If I do this one and change it to the bottom line and I start moving it, now I'm going to find that the bottom aligns right there. So that's other feature that they added as well, vertical alignment. Then we have the materials. So let me find I have an image here. The traditional materials here are, as you can see in this picture, and this is the new materials or for appearance, the assets basically. You see how much nicer the table looks versus the other one. Another option right here. So that basically they optimized the appearance assets to work better with the Revit rendering engine. And I'll show you here what it is. So the materials that are there already, most of them will have this little corner right there that says that you'll need to replace the appearance asset in order to take advantage of the new appearances and the new things they did. So what they mean by that is, let's find glass here, and you go to the appearance tab. Not much to do here because this one, it says that it can be improved. So let's see what it is. Basically what you have to do here is to go and replace the asset. And this brings you that other window, and then we can look for glass as well. Here, notice these glasses or glass options, they don't have that other corner little message there, but some of them still do, basically suggesting that you go find another one that has been improved. In this case, glass has been improved. They don't have any of those messages, so you can easily change this one and bring it into replace this asset with a new one, and that changes over here as well. It gets rid of that little message or the corner, and that's how you do that. So, and not all of them have improved assets here, but they definitely have something that will be similar to that, like we saw here on the glass, and pretty sure they have carpets and metals and all these other options. So that would be the improved appearance assets that they provided as well. And like I mentioned, might not be much important for the US market, but maybe for the European market, where they added extra sample files. And this would be these two right here, these German based files. So, and again, still have the other ones that you might be familiar with as well. So, And the last thing, last couple things here is if we go and say open and find a model, now you can see that Revit 2012, this family was created in that version of Revit. So that's one option right there. That's on the one of the connect features. The last one would be just the cloud work sharing. Basically now if we go to the collaborate tab and say collaborate, let me just save my model here. This will take you directly to the next generation of BIM 360 for document management instead of BIM 360 team. This is only the one that doesn't support BIM 360 team anymore. But if you continue and pick this next generation of BIM 360, what I noticed, or what the options there is that now you can select subfolders in that specific project. So you can go to project files and then pick any of these ones here as well, and then just place your file and work from there for your team to work. Some of the improvements there that now it's all in one, like in one platform. Right, so yeah, we just went through all the new features there. Please let me know if there are any questions. All right. Well, I want to thank you and invite you also to see our upcoming sessions for webinars for this month. As you can see them here. Also, you can go to cadtechnologycenter.com events to see more detailed information and see what's coming. Not just for this month, maybe next month will be different options. Thank you very much for taking your time today to watch this new features webinar. Have a good day.